The great northern forest is a unique and wonderful place. It is filled with history, beauty, and culture. It's breathtaking wilderness, and the best way to see it is with author-photographer Stephen Gorman as your guide.
All right.
Stephen Gorman is an author, adventurer, and photographer. I joined him in the White Mountains to talk with him about the northern forest. The northern forest is 26 million acres from New York State to Maine. He has traveled in them and written about them extensively.
I feel most at home in places like this. You can feel the stress seep away. I think we all need to come to wild places like this periodically, if only to be rejuvenated and refreshed in our otherwise daily stressful lives.
Stephen's book, Northeastern Wilds, is a collection of stories about what he calls journeys of discovery. He is no stranger to Maine, having worked here as a guide and for Outward Bound. He has also traveled extensively, hiking Maine's 100-mile wilderness, paddling many of our rivers, and talking with people along the trail. In many ways, he is an historian trying to connect with the land and our forebears.
Getting back into the land, recreating those activities, whether it's economic or personal or recreational, gives us a better understanding of what they went through and what their goals were, what their aspirations were, and what their relationship was to the land.
Stephen's writings also record the same information about us. With a conversational, flowing literary style, his essays record where we are and what we are doing in the northern forest. While he is certainly a preservationist, he takes no stands on such issues as the North Woods National Park. He has observed the activity up north, and his writing is non-judgmental.
Most of us value the same things. We may cut timber, we also fish. We work in the mill, but we also like to camp. So I think, again, it gets back to the long tradition of the culture of the region. People have this history and tradition of using the landscape for multiple use.
Yet through his words and pictures, we see the need to preserve the wild places that we have.
The first town in the country was settled in Maine back in, 1630 or so, down around York. But it wasn't until 1840 that an official survey party actually went to discover Mount Katahdin. And that was 4 decades after the Lewis and Clark expedition. Maine is home to the largest uninhabited region in the lower 48 states. Most of Maine is the unorganized territories. It's privately owned timberlands, but it's uninhabited. There are camps up there. People use it recreationally. They use it for timber harvesting, but by and large, the land is undeveloped and still open.
Urban sprawl, pollution, and development in the backcountry are all issues of importance to all of us, whether we actually visit the backcountry or not. Sometimes, just knowing that wilderness exists nearby is good for the soul. Steve's writing makes all who read it think about where we are.
I hope that if there are issues that need to be worked out, we can work them out. If there's a problem with how much land is being developed, then maybe we need to address that problem. If there's a problem with how much land is being used for timber harvesting, maybe that's something we should talk about specifically, as opposed to, again, using a fundamental blanket solution.
Stephen Gorman has a large and growing fan base. His article about his trip through Maine's 100-mile wilderness, which appeared in Backpacker magazine, drew national attention to an underutilized part of the Appalachian Trail.
For people from out of the region, from anyone west of the Hudson River, the idea that the longest stretch of the Appalachian Trail that doesn't cross a paved road is in the heavily populated Northeast often comes as a surprise to learn. But yeah, it's right there in the heart of Maine. Exactly, and that's what my book is about.
In a sense, Stephen Gorman's words and photographs take us into the northern forest, our remaining wilderness. It records the magnificence and notes the threats and challenges. It's important work because in the end, our generations will be judged by what we leave those who follow. Stephen Gorman's work is a wonderfully written record of what we were left and how we use it. Stephen Gorman's book, Northeastern Wilds, is a virtual visit to the northern forest. Through words and pictures, it will make you feel as if you've gone there even if you never leave the comfort of your easy chair. That's our program for this evening. If you'd like to know more about the stories we've done for you tonight, please check out our websites, WCS86.com, WLBZ2.com. Click on the Bill Green's Maine icon. There's always more information on our websites. Thanks so much for being with us. Get out and enjoy this beautiful summer weather, and we'll see you next Saturday night at 7 for another edition of Bill Green's Maine.